Once, this was the biggest textile factory in Greece. Today, it lies abandoned and is famous for something else. When I filmed here in Patras a year ago, hundreds of migrants were squatting in the factory, desperate to get out of Greece and scathing about the way this country treats them.
There's no Europe.
It doesn't feel like Europe?
No.
Why?
I used to live in London. There's no Europe.
Then, my guide was this man, Mohammed, in red, a Moroccan living in the factory. Back then, as we left the place, I never expected to see him again. Today, the factory looks quiet, deserted. There's been a big police roundup of the migrants, and the whole place, at first sight, looks empty. So what's happened to the men who lived here?
Mohammed?
Well, thanks to luck and Facebook, I'm about to find out. Mohammed, the man who took me in here a year ago, has tracked me down from inside a prison cell.
Comment ça va? Tu es libre?
Oui, je suis
Tu n'es
libre.
pas dans l'usine?
Non, je ne suis pas dans l'usine. J'ai été au camp, maintenant je suis libre.
Now, he wants to tell his story. The story of one man on a journey from Africa to Europe via a country in crisis. How did so many men end up living in that factory at the port of Patras?
Ils trouvent pas, on va partir où?
They couldn't find anywhere else to stay. The factory was empty, so we started going in there to sleep. We slept in the sewers because the police came and looked for us every day. The mice and rats used to run over us.
Les grands souris là-bas, des toxiques.
But life in the abandoned factory was soon to end. 2 months after we filmed there, it came under attack by local people and busloads of protesters from the far-right party Golden Dawn. Only the riot police stood between them and the migrants.
They hit people. We thought, if they find one of us, they're going to kill him because they're fascists. The police had to stop them coming in. My friends were afraid. But immigrants don't really understand what's going on around them. They only have one thing on their mind, and that's to leave Greece. They're not interested in Golden Dawn.
With hostility to the migrants growing, last August the government launched a sustained police operation to find and detain those with no right to be here. It's called Operation Xenius Zeus, and this is how it works. The Greek police have given us access to an Operation Xenius Zeus raid into Ammonia Square, one of the main squares of Athens. The police invited us along on condition we masked the faces of all involved. They stop people on the streets, check their papers. This man has the vital pink card saying he's claimed asylum, but it's only a photocopy. In this, one of the poorest areas in Athens, the wider impact is to create tension. And this is why many migrants choose to stay at home as much as possible.
Why is he being stopped?
He tells me he's from Bangladesh. He's been here 8 months and lives nearby. The police have detained 77,000 people like this in the past 6 months and sent 4,000 to detention centres to await deportation. Mohammed was one of them.
Moi, ils m'ont prenait à 5 heures du matin. À 5 heures matin.
I was asleep when they came in. 20 or 30 policemen to pick up 5 migrants. With so many, you're afraid. They take you to the police station, then the court, and they transport you directly to the camp.
There was no hearing.
There was no justice. I didn't understand anything. From the police to the camp. Why?
Pourquoi?
They took him to a detention centre, a former military camp in Corinth. Death or the fatherland, says the far-right graffiti on the wall. This is the camp at Corinth where Mohammed was taken. Filming is technically not allowed at the perimeter. The idea was by rounding up immigrants en masse and detaining them in places like this, they would deter others. And there is some evidence that that has worked, but not on anything like the scale it would need to solve Greece's problem with migration. No journalists have been allowed to film inside, but while Mohammed was there, a visitor secretly took these shots.
Les conditions au camp sont très mauvaises.
The conditions are very bad. The meals were not good. There were no blankets, no hot showers, only cold water.
Il n'y a pas de douche, il y a de l'eau froide, plus froid, -10.
Well, I went 2 months without a shower. They played with our state of mind to make us leave the country. We started a hunger strike, but it was ended because they hit us. They didn't let us continue.
Ça va pas. Je sais pas comment vous expliquer.
At refugee centres across Greece, the impact of Operation Zenius Zeus was clear.
Many people are not coming as oftenly as they used to because they are afraid of leaving their houses. The impression that I have is that Greek authorities are trying to deliver a message, and the message is that do not come here, you are not welcome.
But if that is the message, it's not getting through. These ferry boats to Italy and beyond are like a magnet to illegal migrants trying to enter the rest of Europe, and to the criminal gangs who take them there. Mohammed has managed to lodge an asylum claim, but back at the factory, which is supposed to be secured, it didn't take long for him to help us find the men still living there illegally.
Where are you from?
Brazil.
Brazil.
Yes.
Where are you going?
Go ship.
Ship.
Ship. Brazil, Turkey.
Turkey.
Yes. 1 month.
Next. Where next are you going?
Go Britannia.
Britannia.
Glasgow.
Glasgow. Why Glasgow?
Glasgow.
Perché Glasgow?
Calor, la vida, bonita la vida.
La bonita vida.
La bonita la vida.
But, as I was about to find out, the numbers are now being swelled by new conflicts.
How are you?
Fine.
Guys, can we come in? Okay. Where are you from?
Syria.
Syria. Syria?
Yes.
Can you just speak Arabic to this guy? Where are you from in Syria? Which city?
In Syria.
Aleppo. Aleppo, because of the war. What about this guy here? Where are you from? Algeria. How long have you been here? Depuis longtemps? 8 or 9 months. Where do you want to get to?
أي بلد فيه حقوق الإنسان نروحوا له. هو البلد ما فيه حقوق ما بيعطونا حاجة نهائية.
The men who sleep here know the ferry timetable off by heart. They told us they'd each paid 3,000 to 4,000 euros to get this far.
The men who still live here, just yards from the ferry port, say that the police raid here almost every night, and it is nearly time for that moment now, so time to leave.
Every migrant has a different story. Mohammed is a Berber with a degree, and he's left Morocco because he wants to live a secular lifestyle there and claims he can't.
4h30 d'avion.
It took 4.5 hours of flying, Morocco to Turkey, Casablanca to Istanbul.
From Turkey, he made 4 attempts to cross the river Evros into northern Greece.
Moi, le seul Marocain et 9 Afghans.
There were me and some Afghans in the boat, but after 10 minutes the boat capsized. We had to swim for it.
10 minutes, après, il y a un qui s'est tombé,
The boat turned
ouais,
over.
moteur, yes. C'est là qu'il mort.
3 of the Afghans couldn't swim, and they drowned.
We have no way of verifying that claim, just as we can't verify the stories of thousands of others. But for now, he's in limbo. His asylum claim entitles him to stay in Greece, but for the rest he's reliant on campaigners like this woman who runs a volunteer language school.
What is happening in Patras about the asylum procedure is that only one organization, the Red Cross, is responsible, is charged so as to help people to provide this legal assistance so as to apply for asylum. But actually the police gives only one appointment per week to the Red Cross. So you can imagine that we have a big list of hundreds of people who want to apply for asylum, but in fact they can't because one appointment per week is so less. It's like nothing.
In fact, in Greece, it's almost impossible to claim asylum, and here's why. In Athens, every Friday night, a queue of migrants forms. Some of these men have been here since Wednesday. Only at this one place in the city can you actually claim asylum. But the police take only 20 claims a week. The selection process has been described as arbitrary. The police say it's improved. We were ordered to leave before it took place and told they would be kept here until we did. With 200 migrants queuing and 20 let in just once per week, that's a 1 in 10 chance, but it doesn't stop people coming. We asked to speak to a minister and to the police spokesperson about the allegations of mistreatment inside the Corinth camp and about the deficiencies of the system. The Greek government declined our request.
We have estimated.
They directed us to speak to this woman, the head of a new asylum service, a service that as yet has no powers.
The experience we've had following one guy through the asylum system reveals to us just one fundamental problem. It doesn't work. Do you accept that the present system doesn't work?
Well, let me put it this way. The asylum system in Greece hasn't worked for many years, for a number of different reasons we don't have to go into now.
In 2011, the Greek government was found to have breached the European Convention on Human Rights over the conditions migrants were being detained in. It pledged to change.
It's 2 years on from the judgment, it's 2 years on from the action plan, and still we find out in Petra Rally 300, 200 asylum seekers in the freezing cold, lying on the ground, 20 people only selected. That can't be right. You're not fulfilling their human rights.
Well, as I just said, this is one of the problems, difficult access to the asylum procedure in Greece, which the new asylum service is supposed to address. We're gearing up for that. We are recruiting many people. We expect to have upwards of 250 new staff members for the asylum service. This is a very big investment and it's very new.
But for Mohammed and men like him, she has this message.
They may have to be in an illegal situation for years and years and years, and there's a big price for that. And people have to really think and take the right information before they make this sort of decision for their lives.
Greece, however, seemed to have the illusion that the harsher it treated them and the more it ignored them, the more likely it was that they would stop. And that just didn't work, did it?
That's why things are changing.
Mohammed has now moved to this abandoned farmhouse miles away from Patras, and when I meet him, he has news.
How are you?
Good.
Fine. This is my house.
After our first interview, he was again detained by the police. He told me the police said his clothes were too new.
This from me in camp and this in camp.
It was only for one night, but he and his friends do their best to stay out of sight and out of trouble.
So you were sleeping there?
Yeah, I sleep here, exactly. Me and four for my friend here.
So all four of you sleep here?
Yeah, four, and the others sleep in here.
Why do so many men choose to live in conditions like this? It's just a hard life. Travelling, being lifted by the police, always insecure. Why?
It's because we have an objective. We don't stay here just to kill time. Whether it's here or on the road, our objective is to leave.
Yeah, you just want to go.
This is objective. I want to go.
There is no chance that they can stop the flow of migrants into Europe.
No. Ils voulaient l'Europe, ils voulaient arriver.
No, they want Europe. They want to come. It's a hope. It's an objective. For some, Europe is a paradise. You have to reach it.
That is one man's story. He told me some of those I met in the factory a year ago have already made it to Northern Europe. And it's the possibility of getting there that makes men like Mohammed keep on coming. Because though he's biding his time now, Northern Europe is where he intends to finish up.